Hundreds witnessed a ghostly wedding in Guangzhou. Have you heard of Guangzhou Tower? One of Guangzhou's top 10 haunted places. What untold story lies behind the ghostly wedding event at Guangzhou Tower in the 1980s? Guangzhou Tower, located on Nanhua Middle Road in Haizhu District, Guangzhou, is a guild hall with over 200 years of history, famous for producing the intangible cultural heritage delicacy, Jiaofen cakes. Its reputation as a haunted site online stems from a devastating fire. Let's start with that fire. On October 9, 1985, a couple was holding their wedding banquet on the third floor of Guangzhou Tower. Friends and family of both the bride and groom gathered here, drinking and celebrating joyously. Coincidentally, a funeral banquet was being held on the second floor at the same time, filling the room with a somber and oppressive atmosphere. It's said that mixing joyous and mournful occasions invites disaster. The older generation believes that hosting both at the same time and place is almost certain to lead to accidents. During the banquet, the tea house suddenly lost power, quieting the once lively wedding hall instantly. A generator was quickly set up at the bottom of the wooden staircase by the staff. However, not long after, an electrical short circuit occurred at the transformer, causing the generator under the stairs to catch fire. The fire spread rapidly. Before long, it had climbed the stairs from the first to the third floor, leaving guests with no escape. Panic, some guests risked jumping from the building, while others climbed down water pipes along the walls. Eventually, some guests from the first and second floors managed to escape, but the first-story century-old tea house was reduced to ashes. Following this tragedy, the area around Guangzhou Tower began to experience a series of chilling supernatural incidents. Days later, residents near Guangzhou Tower were collectively haunted in the middle of the night, witnessing a horrifying scene. For days after the fire, in the early hours, the empty streets suddenly filled with the clear sound of trumpets and suonas. Many residents were awakened by the noise, initially thinking it was a wedding procession passing by. However, the sound continued persistently. Curious, many residents opened their windows to find a bizarre wedding procession on the street. Hundreds were dressed in red, each with a large red flower on their chest, carrying a large red bridal sedan chair. It was strange who would hold a wedding in the middle of the night, and in such an ancient manner. The more they thought about it, the more uneasy they felt, until the procession of hundreds stopped in front of the now ashes Guangzhou Tower and began to wail miserably. Accompanying this eerie scene, a cold wind began to blow through the street. The noise continued until dawn, when the hundreds of surrounding residents slowly heard the music fade away, and the strange wedding procession vanished into thin air. Yet, this was only the beginning of the paranormal events at Guangzhou Tower. The following year, another terrifying incident occurred. The groom, who had narrowly escaped the fire, and his family came to the front of Guangzhou Tower to pay respects to the deceased bride. As the groom was preparing to worship at the entrance with offerings, suddenly a thick piece of wood fell from the third floor, striking him but thankfully missing any vital parts. His family looked up to see a woman in a red dress on the upper floor. Even more terrifying, her face was blurred, and her red dress was tattered and torn. After waking up in the hospital, the groom became completely mentally disturbed. Horrifyingly and bizarrely, he would often scream in his hospital bed, shouting, "Run! It's on fire! Xiaomei is coming! Xiaomei is coming!" referring to the bride who died in the fire. Eventually, his family had no choice but to commit him to a psychiatric institution. It wasn't until 2006, when the authorities completely demolished the original Guangzhou Tower, that things finally returned to normal.